Hey guys, what's up? Nick here once again. It's been a little while since I just did like a one-on-one video talking with you guys, and this is a pretty important one, and it's something that I've been meaning to kind of talk about a little bit. I could have done this live on stream, I suppose, but I figured I'm just gonna do a dedicated video for anybody that's curious and just explain myself a little bit better, or maybe get my point across a little bit easier. And if I screw up something that makes it more complicated than it needs to be, I can just edit that out, no problem. But I want to give a quick shout out to B Robotics. He's a part of the community. He's been in a lot of the streams lately, and he's also in the Discord and in the TMF. And he made a good point this morning. He called me out specifically, and we had a conversation back and forth. It started out as an argument, but thankfully turned into a civil conversation. And it gave me a good reason to make this video. And again, to kind of explain myself a little bit more for a lot of people who have recently, it feels like, come out of the woodworks to kind of try to call me out or to say I'm wrong or I'm a hypocrite for whatever reason. And again, I just want to put something out there to make sure you guys are understanding my viewpoint on these games. So if you're new to the channel, this probably isn't going to make any sense to you and you're probably extremely confused, and I want to apologize. Essentially, my channel was built on the foundation of wanting to make Twisted Metal content and get the name of Twisted Metal out to the masses so that Sony can see it, hopefully, and see that there is a community and people who want to play these games and get a new game made. On top of that, I also wanted to shed light on Twisted Metal 3, 4, and Small Brawl, because I feel like they are the most underrated games in the series, and they were hated on a lot more than they should have been. Or really, in my opinion, they don't deserve any hate. They're just their own thing. They're different, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with being different. We've all been taught that in like elementary school. And it goes the same with these games. I genuinely don't believe there is a bad Twisted Metal game. I do think each game has their ups and downs. Each game has their problems. Each game has their pros. Is there games I prefer over the others? Yes, 100%. You guys know I'm notorious for shitting on TM2, TM1, sometimes even 2012, and of course Head On. Now, does that mean I hate those games and I never want to play them? No, of course not. And that's why I obviously still do play them, and I still make content on these games. And 90% of the time when I make a comment about a game, like if I say, oh, this game sucks, this game is trash, I'm not being 100% truthful in those statements. I'm ad-libbing it, I'm joking, I'm adding emphasis to it for the content, so to speak. But in this video, I'm being 100% genuine. I'm being truthful. Everything I'm going to say in this video, I am being honest with you guys, and it is my true takes on things. And I want to get this point across to people. So Beaver came to me this morning. He calls me a hypocrite and says that he's angry that I constantly shit on every other game in the series, except for when people criticize Twisted Metal 3, I state that they're just bad at the game. Like it's a skill issue, and that's why they don't like TM3. Now, I want to say right off the rip, if I ever say this, which I know I have said this for sure on stream, if I ever say this, 90% of the time I'm joking. If I say someone has a skill issue, I'm never being serious. And I hope nobody takes that to heart or genuinely thinks I'm calling somebody bad or that they have a skill issue. However, there is a part of me that is telling the truth in the sense that I do genuinely believe that certain games like Twisted Metal 3 and 4, they seem to get shit on a lot more often than they really deserve to be. And there is a skill gap, believe it or not, with those games. With the physics of TM3, for instance, a lot of people write the game off immediately. Oh, the cars flip over too much. Oh, the control isn't great compared to TM2. I hate the physics of TM3. Whenever I hear those things, to me, immediately I'm like, well, the truth is you just have not played enough of the game, which, by the way, is totally fine. If a game turns you off, don't force yourself to get better at it, unless there's something that's keeping you there. If there's something that's keeping you there, whether it's a story, whether it's characters, whether it's the environment, the atmosphere, whatever the case may be, if something is keeping you there, then sure, fight through the pain and learn the basics and enjoy the game. And with Twisted Metal 3, that is 1,000,000% possible. My channel is living proof of this. When I stream Twisted Metal 3, when I speedrun Twisted Metal 3, I am living proof that you can get used to these controls and learn to use the physics to your advantage. And the game is actually really well made in that front. I genuinely think that the physics and the control of Twisted Metal 3 are some of the best in the entire series, and I will stand by that. only because it was a PS1 game, and at that time, when the game released, these physics were revolutionary. I'm sorry, they were. Yes, they have glitches. Yes, there's problems with them. And yes, it is slower compared to other Twisted Metals. I'm not denying that. And yes, the flipping over obviously is annoying. But once you get used to it, once you get past that skill gap, it's controllable and it can be fun. And I genuinely really enjoy it. I love the physics of TM3. As a kid, did I find them frustrating and did I find them annoying? Yes, of course. But I liked the rest of the game enough to continue trying and getting used to it. And again, I understand why people don't like TM3 or don't like TM4, or they say they don't prefer the physics because of this and that, and that's fine. And I'm not going to say those people are wrong. I might joke about it and just say like, haha, you just don't understand. That's joking though. But if somebody legitimately tells me these physics are bad, this game is a bad game, I'm going to shut them up and put them in their place and prove to them that it's just not true. Yes, it might not be a good Twisted Metal game because, again, it's a much slower paced game compared to the other ones. Maybe the endings don't really fit into the canon universe of Twisted Metal. They're a little bit too weird, too stupid. The level design isn't nearly as good. You know, the list goes on. There is problems with the games when you compare them to other Twisted Metal games. But if Twisted Metal 3 and Twisted Metal 4 didn't have the TM name tied to it, I honestly think they would have been looked upon way more fondly to the car combat community than just what they are today, which I think is a bummer because even though I agree Twisted Metal 2, Twisted Metal 1, Twisted Metal Black, they did a lot better world building, a lot better character development, you know, that stuff, level design, all that stuff, I agree, much, much better. But in terms of practical gameplay, bringing me back to the game and having a genuinely fun time with it, I don't really have a problem with 3 or 4. They're genuinely fun games to play. And in the end, that's what matters to me. As long as I'm having fun, that's what should matter to me. That's what should matter to you. So again, Beaver called me out, calling me a hypocrite because apparently I make all these criticisms on other games, but I don't criticize TM3 enough. Sort of speak is kind of what they were getting at. And that if somebody criticizes TM3, I jump to the throat and I tell them, you're wrong, I get defensive. 90% of the time, it's a joke. It's obviously an inside joke on the channel that TM3 supremacy. TM3 is the best game in the series. I don't believe in that. I've proven that with my ranking videos. TM3 is not in my top 2, let alone top 3, but it's still a fun game and I still enjoy it. But I am going to go with the joke that is TM3 supremacy because it's an inside joke. Needless to say, I'm going to repeat myself again. I will stand by my statements that I genuinely think the physics of TM3 are good. They can get learned, and it is a skill issue if you don't enjoy them. Does that mean I'm making fun of you and saying you necessarily have a skill issue? No, I'm just saying that it's going to take time. Now, it's up to you if you want to take the time to learn the skills to master the control and to understand how the game plays. That's up to you. If you don't want to take that time, I don't blame you. I'm not going to say that you're a bad gamer. I'm not going to make fun of you. It's your choice. But again, that does not mean the game itself is bad or that there's bad gameplay or bad physics. It's up to the player on if they like it or not. And everybody has their opinions. We've gone over this many, many times over the past few years. Everybody has their opinion on which game is the best, which game is good, which game is bad. And that's totally fine. I just get defensive when people specifically state things like facts, where they say, this game is bad, this game has bad physics, whatever. Now, when I critique games like Twisted Metal 2, especially when I'm angry at the moment, I'm going to say things off the top of my head that sound more critical, and more factual than they really are. You have to take that stuff with a grain of salt, especially if I'm in mid-conversation while I'm live and I'm pissed off. I'm probably going to say, this game is shit, this game sucks. But I'm not sitting there. It's much different than the next day, I wake up, I've had a cup of coffee, I'm chill, and I sit down on Discord and I type out a thesis of why TM2 sucks. Those are two different situations. If I were to type out a thesis about why TM2 sucks, I'm going to find every single thing I can think of that proves my point as to why the game is bad. But if I'm just mad in the moment and I say a game is bad, don't take what I'm saying at face value. Take it with a grain of salt. And 90% of the time, I am adding to it. I'm doing it for the content. Yes, I'm probably actually mad in that situation, but it's all a part of the stream. It's a part of the entertainment. So people need to understand that not everything I say is meant to be taken with 100% seriously. or what's the word? I don't know. I can't think of the word, but just don't take everything I say 100% serious unless I deliberately tell you that before the message, like I've done in this video. In the end, to wrap everything up into one sweet little present with a bow on top, if I were just making everything up about TM3 or TM4 just for clicks or whatever, or to start some flame war in the community, you would not see me genuinely enjoying these games. And I do. I love these games. I still play them to this day, even off stream when I'm bored. I'll boot them up. That's why I speedrun TM3. It's the only game I feel comfortable enough to speedrun it because, again, I feel I have mastered the controls enough and mastered the physics enough to get used to it to be able to do that. Another thing, too, when it comes to me ratting on other games, I'm bringing TM2 up because it's the main game that I can think of on top of my head that I really shit on the most on stream. And the reason I do that on TM2 is because I've been playing all these games since the 90s and early 2000s. I've been playing them a very long time, and they all have the same amount of hours put into them, same amount of love. Twistmail 2, no matter how good you get at it, there's no way to specifically master the physics of Twistmail 2. There is a lot more at play that are just unpredictable compared to TM3. Now, yes, I know you can make the argument that, well, the flipping over in TM3 is unpredictable, and in a way, it's actually not. There's a lot of times you can actually control the vehicle to not flip if you're fast enough with your reactions, or if you just play the game enough, you can kind of get a feel for it if there's a jump you're going to take and you know you're going to flip over. You don't really have that foresight in Twistmail 2. It's hard to explain, but if you're a fan of TM2, you have to understand, and you have to see my point here, that there's just a lot of unforgiving and just downright unpredictable moments in Twistmail 2. And that's maybe a part of the charm. I get that. It's a lot more chaotic. A lot more craziness happens in TM2 versus TM3 and TM4 for those reasons. Not only that, but the AI blatantly cheats in TM2, and I'm just not a fan of that. I get it if you like the challenge, and I'm not saying you're wrong for that, but that just comes down to opinion. But yeah, so that's kind of the reason I like to rat on TM2 and TM1 and, you know, any other game like that, just because I feel some things like that are BS and it does hurt the gameplay and it makes it worse for the player. But am I going to ever sit here and sort of be like, this game is actually garbage and I'm genuinely meaning that statement? No, I'm never going to say that. I'm never going to mean that. Again, if I ever do say that, it's a joke or it's definitely exaggerated for the moment because I'm pissed off. I just hope people understand that when I make statements like that or I rat on your favorite game, it's not a direct personal attack on you or your character. I'm not trying to say you guys are wrong and my opinion's the only one that matters. 90% of the time, I am joking, I'm ad-libbing, I'm adding emphasis on it for jokes, for fun, for the stream, or for my videos. And if you have a differing opinion, that's totally fine. I totally get it, and I respect everyone's opinions on these games. The only time I'm going to call somebody out and be 100% serious is if somebody blatantly says, it's a fact that this game is bad. The physics are bad. Then I'm going to call you out because it's just not true. So I hope this kind of makes sense and makes my point more across that I'm just here to have fun. I'm here to play games. If you don't agree with my statements, if you don't agree with my opinions, that is totally fine. But for the love of God, stop trying to call me out. Don't call me a hypocrite because those are just direct insults and it's going to piss me off and it's not cool. So just cut it out. I'm not trying to call out Beaver specifically, but this is what got me to make this video, and I wanted to make sure that then there are other people. It's not just Beaver. There are other people that have tried calling me out in the past few months saying this and that, or I've said this and I've said this. And every time I ask, well, where's the proof? They never can give it to me. And it's just getting annoying at this point. So I wanted to make a specific video calling these people out and hopefully letting everybody else know that if you ever have these thoughts, you're probably overthinking it and it's not that serious. So that's pretty much it. I'm rambling at this point. Thank you so much for watching. Again, thank you all so much for the support as of late. This year has been absolutely insane with the streams, and I'm super excited to push towards Twitch Partner, hoping we can get there this year. And then at that point, I'm just going to try to push for 10,000 subs on the YouTube channel. That's going to be the next major goal. So hopefully we can get there, and hopefully see you guys in the next stream. All right, have a good one. Peace out.